Hello and welcome to How to League of Legends, Episode 3. In this episode, we're going to be going over stats and items. We're going to be getting into the more subjective and deeper parts of League of Legends in these next videos, so please do not worry if you're starting to feel overwhelmed. These can be learned at your own pace. But please keep in mind, however, this is knowledge that is important to the game and needs to be learned. When you hit C while in-game, stats will appear that explain how powerful your character is. Your health defines how much damage you can take before you die. Your resource bar defines how many spells you can use before you must wait for it to recharge. This includes mana or energy or rage depending on what character you're playing. Health and mana regeneration define how quickly these stats refill. Attack damage, which defines your basic attack or your auto attack damage. It also increases the damage of certain abilities based on what champion you're playing. Critical strike chance defines how likely you are to deal bonus damage on your basic attacks. Ability power, which primarily defines the power of certain abilities like mages. If your ability power is higher than your attack damage, it will also define how much damage your basic attacks deal to structures like towers. Attack speed defines how quickly your basic attacks recharge. It is capped at 2.5 attacks per second. Cooldown reduction defines how quickly your spells and abilities refresh themselves. It is capped at 40% cooldown reduction. Movement speed defines how quickly your character moves. Range defines how far your basic attacks reach. Armor defines how resistant you are to basic attacks and abilities that deal physical damage. Magic resistance defines how resistant you are to spells and abilities that deal magic damage. Armor and magic penetration define how much your attacks and abilities are reduced by armor and magic resistance. More armor and magic penetration means less effectiveness of armor and magic resistance on the opposing character. Tenacity defines how long you are affected by crowd controlling effects such as stuns. Lifesteal defines how much your basic attacks heal you, and Spell Vamp defines how much your spells and abilities heal you. Even though Lifesteal seems more physical, it only affects basic attacks, and Spell Vamp affects all abilities no matter if they deal physical or magical damage.
Items you can buy in the store can increase any of these stats that you wish. However, what items you build on particular champions can have devastating effects. The item Spirit Visage and Warmog's Armor, when built on Zac, for instance, essentially allows for him to constantly be regenerating his health faster than he is spending it on spells, while also making him significantly more difficult to kill. Interactions like these are what you're looking for when building items. While it is true that you can build magic penetration on Garen to increase the damage of his ultimate, it is not recommended as there are no items with magic penetration that also help him in other areas, on top of the fact that he gets no benefit whatsoever from ability power. What order you build your items in is just as important as what you get. Tear of the Goddess and Rod of the Ages, for example, are much more cost-effective and better items the sooner you build them in games. Guardian Angel, on the other hand, is better saved for the last item, as it gives no benefit beyond the revive, and such an ability is not incredibly effective until the end of the game. Always be on the lookout for champions like Ryze and Vladimir as well, who use completely different itemization from their counterparts. Item builds are different from champion to champion, and we do not have enough time to list them all here. The recommended items tab in the shop is a good rule of thumb to follow, but be aware that it is not necessarily the most up-to-date or effective builds.
Runes and Masteries are League of Legends' way of allowing you to personalize or optimize your champion for any given situation. Our recommended rune pages consist of armor seals, magic resist glyphs, and marks and quintessences of the best stat of your champion. This is the safest and most reliable build you can have for your runes. Be aware, do not buy runes before you are level 20 and have access to the highest tier of runes. They are not worth the influence points and will go to waste. Masteries, however, cost no influence points and are gained for free each time you level up. Essentially, you'll want to put 21 points into one mastery tree that defines the champion you are playing. Carries, mages, assassins, and fighters tend to prefer the offensive tree. Tanks prefer the defense tree. The supports prefer the utility tree. Then it is preferred that you put 9 points in another given tree of your choice. More often than not, if you are putting points into the defense or utility tree, you'll wish you put 9 points into the offense tree to achieve the mastery that increases your armor and magic penetration based off the highest damage of your chosen champion. These are simply our recommendations. There is much room for experimentation with runes and masteries.
Thank you very much for watching our videos. There's one left if you've been going in order, but if you haven't been going in order, feel free to click any of the annotations to our other videos.